Mephistopheles. If you keep interest within the occult, you might have noticed his name before. You might even know this is a name of the devil himself. However, this is a lie. Mephistopheles is classed as a fictional being, even to those that believe in demons, not considering him to be part of demonology, interpreted in the past as an alias of the devil himself, or mostly understood as a demon in service to the devil to corrupt man on earth, a demon that acts as the devil's agent to do his will. However, this is not entirely true, and like most things in our understanding, it's not so black and white. The most known story is that of Germanic folklore, detailing Johann Georg Faust, a pagan practitioner who sells his soul to the devil. Faust believes that through his power of magic, he managed to summon a demon. However, Mephistopheles explains that he was simply passing by and could sense the heavy temptation and the path of corruption that lied ahead for Faust. He appears as a twisted and corrupted member of the St. Francis Catholic Order. Mostly humanoid, he is depicted as having accentuated eyebrows and moustache, normally with a feather sticking up from a hood. Some depictions actually show him with generic stunted demon horns, like the type we see in Hollywood all the time. One depiction from an exaggerated piece of literature shows him with wings, making him look more like a gargoyle to me than anything. Shakespeare also featured him in a play, so we know how the Victorians pictured him. Faust's deal with the devil was to have Mephistopheles as a divine slave for 24 years, and in return, at the end of these 24 years, he would yield his soul to the devil for eternity. Even after Mephistopheles himself warning Faust that he should change his ways and not go through with this deal, as it was very one-sided. However, the idea of Faust having a divine being at his command was too much, and he went through with the deal anyway. And it is true, for the next 24 years, Faust experienced life to the fullest, travelling through time and to the stars with Mephistopheles' powers. With the help of his powers, he actually came to understand all of creation. Ultimately, he still has to fulfill his end of the bargain, so now is forever trapped in a personal hell. On the contrary, according to extra biblical texts, Mephistopheles is actually a jinn. While serving the kingdom of heaven and God, he was responsible for the creation of orcas, whales, seals and dolphins. However, once Lucifer rebelled against God, Mephistopheles was actually the first to join his cause. This was mostly because of the jealousy he held towards the humans. This was also a jealousy many other jinn shared. It was very common for jinn to be very jealous of the humans, which their god seemed to care so much about. Or Mephistopheles' loyalty towards Lucifer, who was rewarded with being the second in command in hell, or other known as Jinnistan. But back to the Germanic folklore version of events. Mephistopheles does not appear to serve the devil from his own will, but rather as a slave. Many men have argued different points, whether it be that the demon was actually a manifestation of the devil himself, or a ambitious worker for the devil to search the earth with a goal of corrupting minds, or, the one I like the most, a man who was once in Faust's position, a man that belonged to the Church of St. Francis that accepted a deal with the devil. So, Mephistopheles, being in that position, then pleaded with Faust not to accept the trade of his soul, knowing in the end those 24 years will mean nothing and he will forever be trapped in hell. So this tells us that while not being a demon or agent of Lucifer of his own accord, he is actually enslaved to collect the souls of those already corrupt. And I want you to really listen to that bit again. He collects the souls of those already corrupt. He himself does no corrupting. So let's just get into what Mephistopheles' name means, his origins, and the different accounts and literature he is featured within. So the name first appears in Germanic folklore regarding the tales of a single man called Faust that we just learnt about. His full name is Johann Georg Faust, or better known to English-speaking people as John Faust. You see, in a time of a Christian boom and dominance, Faust practiced what would be classed as blasphemous rituals. He was what you and I would know as a pagan or a spellcraft practitioner. He gave horoscopes, followed astrology, and also worked as an alchemist. Because of this, obviously the Church of Christianity was deeply offended for him to practice such heathen sins. He was outed as being in cohorts with the devil himself. There have been lots of debate throughout history whether John Faust was a real individual, with different historians and literacy experts from different kingdoms, countries and eras arguing their case for what is correct in terms of authenticity, date and birth, or even his real name. However, it is known that the practice of creating horrible stories about someone, selling themselves to the devil, was common practice from Christian churches. This was so they could consolidate and keep power and silence anyone that lived a non-Christian life, especially heathens that practiced pagan rituals. Mephistopheles became a well-known name after William Shakespeare featured the demon in his play Merry Wives of Windsor, making a parody of his appearance even further. But before that, it was actually many German authors sort of stealing the story and slightly changing it over the years. This is where the arguments come from on what is correct information. Some possible translations from ancient language of the name are, in Latin, Mephistopheles could mean either friend of Faust or no son of Faust, or it's even been linked to the phrase he who shuns light. It's even been linked to the Latin word Mephitis, which means pungent, sulphurous or stinking. The name can also be linked to a combination of three Greek words, essentially meaning not light loving, which is most likely a direct opposite parody of Lucifer, the light bearer. So the most common impact this legend had on the world is the phrase to be Faustian, which means to abandon moral and spiritual beliefs in favour of money and luxury. Thank you for joining me on this occult journey today. This is the first of many videos on occult stories, demonology, pagan ritual stories and more. If you would like to subscribe, that would make my day. Nevertheless, I'm just glad you're here, and I'll see you next time.